My wife laughed, and something in me snapped. She stood at the kitchen counter, carelessly stirring her overpriced oat milk latte, lips curled in a smirk that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Don't be jealous, babe. It's just a date." Her voice was casual, light, like she was commenting on the weather. "I told you about Aaron from work. We're just grabbing dinner. You don't mind, do you?" I didn't say anything at first, because in that moment, everything I thought I knew about my marriage burned to ash. Let me rewind. My name is Ethan Grant. I'm 38, a systems architect who works mostly from home. Calm, reliable, the kind of man who folds his laundry and refills the soap before it runs out. I've been married to Lila for 8 years. Or, more accurately, I thought I was married to her. We had routines, weeknight dinners, Sunday walks. Even silent fights followed a predictable rhythm. But this wasn't routine. This wasn't part of any script I'd rehearsed. She looked directly at me with those glacier blue eyes, waiting for a reaction. I kept my voice steady. "Do whatever you want." She laughed again. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. You know I love you. But we said we wouldn't be possessive, remember? That was your idea." No. What I'd said, months ago in some dumb podcast-fueled debate, was that love without freedom is a prison. I didn't say, "Go sleep with your coworker while I sit here like a fool." But I didn't show anger. I didn't raise my voice. I just nodded, and something shifted inside me. A quiet decision. Not rage, not even heartbreak. Just clarity. She kissed me on the cheek before leaving that night. Her perfume laced with something unfamiliar. She thought she'd won. She thought she was untouchable. What she didn't know was that I had spent my entire life being underestimated. Quiet men usually are. While she was sipping wine across from a man who thought he was stealing someone else's wife, I was building something else, a calm, patient revenge. She returned late, pretending not to be surprised that I was still awake. She walked past me without a word, her heels clacking on the hardwood like an insult. That night, I opened a private folder on my laptop and pulled up the first phase of what I had started weeks ago, before she ever mentioned Aaron. Maybe I had sensed something. Or maybe deep down, I always knew the day would come. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to destroy her quietly, piece by piece, using everything she'd handed me freely, like a fool. And the first domino? It would fall tomorrow morning. Because when she walked into the kitchen for her coffee, she'd find something waiting for her on the counter. Something that would wipe that smug smile right off her face. She came downstairs humming, wearing my shirt. The same woman who had gone out the night before for dinner with another man now floated into the kitchen, like nothing happened, as if betrayal was just another shade of lipstick she could wear and wash off at night. But today, her coffee ritual met an unexpected interruption. Right there, on the marble countertop beside her favorite mug, sat a single manila envelope. No name, no markings, just thick enough to feel heavy. She frowned and glanced at me over her shoulder. "What's this?" I sipped my black coffee, leaned back in the chair, and met her gaze. "Open it." She hesitated, and for the first time in a long while, I saw it, uncertainty. That flicker of instinct that maybe, just maybe, she'd pushed too far. She slid a fingernail beneath the seal and pulled out the contents. Her lips moved silently as she scanned the pages, her pupils flickering left to right, faster and faster. Then her breath caught. "Ethan, what is this?" "Bank statements," I said quietly. "Screenshots. Transfer records. Every time you forgot to tell me about your personal account. Every time you rerouted a payment or pulled from the joint savings. Every late-night Venmo to Aaron labeled as consulting." She stepped back like the envelope had burned her. "That's not what you think." "Oh, I know exactly what it is," I interrupted. My voice never rose. "You've been planning your exit. Or at least your backup plan. I'm just letting you know, I saw it. I see you now." She looked at the envelope like it might jump up and bite her. I was just trying to have options. You were so distant. You shut me out." "No," I said, standing. "I gave you space because I respected you. I didn't know I was giving you cover." I walked past her and picked up my laptop bag. "But this isn't a confrontation, Lila. This is notification." "Notification of what?" I stopped in the doorway. "That I'm no longer a variable in your equation. You lost the right to negotiate when you treated our marriage like a casual lease." Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. "I'm not here to fight," I added. "I'm here to exit cleanly. But make no mistake, you won't land on your feet." And then I left. I didn't slam the door, didn't toss my ring. I left like a man heading to work. Because that's exactly what I was doing, going to finalize the plan I had spent weeks perfecting. And as I stepped into my car, my phone buzzed. A message from someone I hadn't spoken to in years. Someone Lila never even knew existed. Got your message. I'm in. Let's burn it all down. I smiled. Because while Lila had been out playing games, I had been preparing for war. And she was about to learn that quiet men don't explode. They dismantle. The drive to the law office was short, but the silence inside my car was sacred. I had turned off the radio. No music. No distractions. Just the rhythm of my thoughts clicking into place like puzzle pieces. After years of being her emotional safety net, steady, forgiving, reliable, I was done cushioning her falls. This time, she would feel the full impact. Inside the office, my attorney, Claire, waited with a thin smile and a thick file. I've reviewed everything you sent, she said, tapping the folder. Your financial documentation is solid. The hidden transfers, the separate account in her name. All of it will paint a very clear picture of her intentions. And since you're the sole contributor to the household income, she's going to lose the house. I finished for her. Claire gave a short nod. She'll fight, but she has no ground to stand on, especially with no prenup. I leaned forward. And the car? You keep it. She'll try to claim it, but it's registered solely to you. And her emails to that man, Aaron, those qualify as marital misconduct in this state. I exhaled slowly, controlled. Perfect, but this wasn't just about assets. This was about principle. After the meeting, I made one more stop, the tech lab where my old college friend Mason worked. The same Mason who owed me a favor, and who now had access to something Lila would never expect, the metadata from our shared cloud. You see, Lila wasn't just sloppy with money. She was sloppy with secrets. Dozens of deleted messages, schedules, even calendar invites to meetings that aligned perfectly with nights. She claimed to be working late. Mason decrypted it all and handed me a USB drive, his brow raised. She really thought she was slick, he muttered. She was lazy, I corrected, and arrogant. By the time I pulled into our driveway, Lila's car was already gone, probably running to her sister or a hotel, trying to figure out how fast her world was unraveling. I stepped inside and felt nothing. No guilt, no regret, only resolve. On the kitchen table, I placed 2 envelopes, one for her attorney, the other for her. Inside hers, I included the screenshots, the lawyer's contact info, and a short handwritten note. You laughed. I listened. You lied. I prepared. You played a game. I just finished it. Ethan. Then I logged into the smart home account and removed her access. Let her see how it feels to be locked out of a life she took for granted. I didn't text her. I didn't wait by the window. I simply went upstairs, took a shower, and laid down in fresh sheets she didn't pick out. And just as I closed my eyes, the front door rattled. Keys no longer worked. A frantic knock followed. Then her voice. Ethan? What the hell is going on? Open the door. I didn't move. I let the silence answer her. And the real storm hadn't even started yet. The next morning, I sat at a cafe 3 blocks from our house. Correction, my house now. I sipped my espresso slowly, the way Lila used to before everything turned fake. My phone buzzed nonstop, messages from her, missed calls, voicemails alternating between outrage and desperation. But I didn't respond. Instead, I pulled up the court documents Claire had filed this morning. Petition for divorce, grounds, marital misconduct, financial deceit, motion for exclusive, possession of marital residence. Granted temporarily based on evidence submitted. By noon, Lila would receive notice from her lawyer. By then, I would have already changed the locks again, this time with a digital audit trail that proved her attempts to force her way back in. But that wasn't even the highlight of my day. No, that came around 2 p.m., when the HR department at her company responded to the anonymous email tip I sent from a burner account, complete with attachments, screenshots of her messages to Aaron, company laptop misuse, client dinner receipts she'd passed off as expenses but were actually dates. See, I didn't just want her to feel abandoned. I wanted her to feel exposed, because Lila had built a reputation at her firm as this razor-sharp, emotionally intelligent marketing executive, a feminist icon who held men accountable and never tolerated infidelity. Oh, the irony. An hour later, Aaron's wife, yes, his wife, replied to the package I mailed her last week. She had read every word, every screenshot. Her reply was short. Thank you. I had no idea. He's coming home to a suitcase on the lawn. I smiled. Not out of malice. Out of peace. Every piece was falling into place. By 4 p.m., I got a call from Claire. She's scrambling. Her lawyer called. She wants to talk. Wants to keep things quiet. Says she didn't realize how serious this was. I leaned back in my chair and looked out at the sunlit street. Tell her we can talk. But not about reconciliation. Only about terms. And Ethan, Claire added, she's requesting to meet at the house. She says she left some personal items. Jewelry, a few family heirlooms. She'll get what the court says she can have, I said coldly. Nothing more. That night, I watched the security feed on my phone as Lila stood outside the gate, bundled in a coat too thin for the wind, staring at the front door like it might open if she willed it hard enough. But I wasn't inside. I had booked a weekend away, a secluded cabin, no cell service, no distractions. Just space to breathe. Let her sit in silence. Let her wonder how everything crumbled so fast. She built her castle on arrogance, thinking I was just a quiet man in the background. She forgot. Quiet men don't shout. They erase you. And Lila still had no idea what was coming on Monday morning, because I had one final move left, the one that would end her carefully curated image, in front of everyone. Monday morning arrived crisp and cold, poetic, really. I dressed in a tailored navy suit, not because I needed to, but because I wanted to feel composed when I dropped the final domino. The courthouse was already buzzing with chatter by the time I arrived. People huddled outside, clutching coffee and manila folders, unaware they were about to witness a public unmasking. I walked in calmly and handed the clerk 2 envelopes, one for Lila's lawyer, the other for the judge overseeing our case. Inside, a detailed, time-stamped expose, photos, email records, her company's branding on personal hotel reservations, receipts forged as business expenses, and, most importantly, a signed affidavit from Aaron's wife confirming the affair, including how Lila had coached him to lie during HR's internal probe. Lila thought this was going to be a routine hearing. She thought her tears and charm would buy her time, maybe even sympathy. What she got instead was a formal motion to submit her actions as evidence of not only adultery, but willful deceit during financial disclosures, something the court took very seriously. She sat across from me at the long wooden table, her face pale, hands trembling slightly as her lawyer leaned in and whispered. She looked at me then, eyes wide with panic. I didn't blink. Ethan, she whispered across the space between us. Please, don't do this. We can settle. No need to make this ugly. I leaned forward, kept my voice low. You already made it ugly. I'm just letting the light in. Her lip quivered, but I saw the fury simmering just beneath. She wasn't sorry. She was cornered. The judge reviewed the documents, sighed heavily, and looked directly at her. Mrs. Thorne, the evidence submitted raises serious ethical concerns. You may face repercussions not only in this court, but professionally as well. That was the first crack in her mask. But the real break came later that afternoon. I had emailed the same evidence packet to her company's executive board. Not out of spite, out of principle. She built her career on being righteous, clean, untouchable. But beneath it was manipulation and betrayal, not just toward me, but her colleagues, her clients, her image. By 3 p.m., her profile was scrubbed from the company website, her title revoked. I didn't have to lift a finger. I just pulled back the curtain. That night, she called. I let it ring. Then another text came in. I didn't think you were capable of this. I stared at the message and finally replied. That was your first mistake. The second buzzed in right after. I regret everything. Too late. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even satisfied. I was free. And as I poured a drink and looked out at the quiet street below, I felt something I hadn't in years. Peace. She played her games in the dark. I rewrote the rules in daylight. And when the dust settled, I didn't raise my voice. I raised the truth.